Our guest is Mike Igini, legal practitioner, immediate pastor, resident electoral commissioner of INEC. And we're talking about the threats to the 2023 general election, and indeed, perhaps by talking about them, we'll be able to know what to do about them. Now, he was talking, Mike was speaking about the concept, a phenomenon of a new elite formation, and he had described in the election year.
Correct.
And this is coming from the fact that those elites, if we make elites by electing people to office, they're going to be a fresh set of people.
Yeah.
And
the calculation is that whoever will win, groups that will win in 2023, will now spend the next 4 years, 8 years, and possibly continue.
Yes.
So it's always very challenging. And you also will see in terms of the attitude, the actions. It's also true in terms of the laws that are made. And I was just trying to give you quickly an example of what happened in 2003, which is another elite formation year after the 1998 election. You recall that first in 2003, there was section 86, which talk about the fact that you cannot use security to guide yourself. That was a year what we call continuity election. But in 2006, preparing for 2007 election, which is going to be another new elite election formation year, the laws changed. In fact, the crisis of the growing thuggery in our country has statutory backing. Under section 86, subsection 7 of the 2006 Electoral Act, that's made room for the use of thuggery. And you can find it there. Really? So law was made in our country for use of thuggery.
No,
today,
Mike,
in our country,
no, Mike, this thing you are saying.
It is there. I've sent to you. Can let Nigerian say it. Section 87, section 86, subsection 7.
Paraphrase what it said.
Made provision for the use of thugs. They didn't use the word thugs, but they said you can use individual for your private security.
Okay.
That was the language.
Okay.
That was what was used to bring in thuggery. Today, Yori, we have association of thugs in this country, and they have a network. They do interstate thuggery services during the election. They also do interstate thuggery services. Just as you have a group of Nigerians, until they also form an association for hiring of crowd during rallies and procession. All you require is how many seater bus. They make the calculation and they pay for you. Now, if you look at the thuggery that is going on, to have thugs, to have people trained to attack our processes, to be burning INEC offices or the things you say about, is an attack on democracy. You see what's happening in America.
You feel that this is organized.
Yes.
You feel that this is not spontaneous.
I mean,
that it is organized.
Less than 48 hours when I was in Akwa Ibom, a Besukbo Asutan, a local government right there in Oyo, the whole place was set on fire. 42 generators burned, corridors burned, everything and all of that. And of course, you've seen INEC facility across the country. That is an attack on democracy. In serious crime, you could see what happened in America today. The January assault on Capitol Hill, people are being brought to book. Because that itself is an attack on democracy. Look, election, Iori, is not an end itself. It's only a means towards achieving the ultimate goal of election, which is development. Election only provides what we call vertical accountability. And so, election, so you could say, these are thugs who were hired from another state and brought to Akwa Ibom State with 9 buses. This is what we call interstate thuggery services. All right? This happened. Who were the people responsible for this? These were thugs. There's another clip you are going to see where INEC officials, directors, and the rank of a director were also kidnapped. Those who kidnapped them are known. This should not be acceptable, should not be accepted in any decent society.
So these are some of the things that INEC, that when you were
When I was there,
these are some of the things you had to contend with.
We had to contend with.
Has it gotten better since then? Because the things that you're talking about, no doubt the security...
Those are the bosses.
Yes, okay.
These are the bosses. You also remember that we are beginning to make violence a part of our electoral process. And that is why it is important for us to know that for us to succeed, democracy operates on the understanding that all who have a role to play must play its own role. Because election is one event that
situation
is
these
done
pictures
in peacetime.
This was how long ago?
Oh, this was on the eve of the governorship election in 2019.
Okay.
This was what happened in 2019. All right? Many offices burned. 14 vehicles that were hired for election, all of them set ablaze.
I was going to ask if that
and that trend is also ongoing.
This unfortunate situation that we're viewing, if it still obtains, because 2019,
you already see
all the authorities...
You are already seeing the gathering storm. No party is spared right now. I mean,
I did say Abdul Salam Abubakar was concerned.
No party is spared at the moment. I mean, you already know the report about Party A, Party B, Party C going for campaigns, and look what's going on. I mean, you also have seen the growing level of intolerance of opposition. Look, democracy, multi-party democracy is inconceivable without an opposition either within the party or inter-party, because that represents the liberal idea of liberal democracy. What is going on is something that we have to put a stop to, because, you see, if we allow this to define the pre-election period, this is what we are going to see on election day. But one thing I can assure you is that INEC processes and procedure are such that no one can use violence to win election under the current system.
Okay.
It's not going to happen at all.
Because I was going to...
That is the good news to Nigerian people. On election day, get your PVC. First, take advantage of the current display that is ongoing. Check for your names. Check for those omitted. Check for those who ought not to be. All those things, make them, because it has started it's going to be there for 7 days at the world level. Then, as from on the 19th to on the 25th, it will now shift. By tomorrow, the first phase at the world level will end. By Saturday, they will now move to what they call the local government level. Now, once that is done...
One moment, please. Ada in Jos has called in. Good morning, Ada.
It's Mike Igini. It's Ada calling from Jos Plateau State. I couldn't wait to call when I saw it. He was there, you know. Even on one of the programs, I was even saying, why was it not possible to appoint people like Mike Igini and the likes of them, even if it's on an ad hoc basis until we finish this election, you know. But it's really unfortunate. Now, what he is talking about, that is the violence and all whatnot, it's still riding its ugly head, you know. It has happened in Kaduna, it has happened in Borno, you know. And then what is happening? And the problem with Nigeria is that when they start comparing us with what happens in the USA or abroad, you know, that well, after all, they had this, they had that. Okay, like the capital something you're talking about the U.S. What is that? Did they not arrest people? Even the Donald Trump, is it spread?
Yes.
Are they not still talking about it?
Yes.
Nigeria, is it not being tried? You know, you can imagine. But in Nigeria, they will end up saying unknown government. You don't get anybody, you know. The flag bearers, they're not helping matters. It's even worse. The older they are, the more they are even involved in all these, abusive words and all of them. I thought they would even use temperate language than the younger ones. You know, it's really unfortunate. So if this is not checked, it's not a big issue. INEC offices burnt right, left, and center. Nobody is, arrested or prosecuted. You know. Then I can't understand why those INEC offices that have all those sensitive materials cannot be protected in the first instance.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
That's an issue. The INEC, what I'm asking INEC to do now, because the Electoral Act is there. Yes, that's one legacy Buhari has left for us and the 9th Assembly. But the problem now is that are they going to implement it? It's not INEC that is the problem. It's the people who are going to play. INEC is not the one to arrest. It's not the one to prosecute. That's the issue we're having. the one INEC should do is that let them position that the cubicle, the voting cubicle, in such a way that people cannot display whom they are voting for, you know. So when the politicians now give money, they know that they are on their own. They can lose their money because they cannot. The people cannot show them whom they are voting for. That is one way out again. Then again, they should allow them have cameras there. It's there, but they don't implement it. I don't know how they should allow people to be carrying cameras to go and vote and all that. You know, INEC is doing its best. You know, but the implementation, that is sanction, is the way we are lacking. And lack of sanctions. Look, enforcement of laws help to regulate people's behavior, no matter where they are from. The white people, they respect the law, not because they want to. They'll be worse than us if they don't implement the law. But here now, we don't implement it. We look at the faces of the people involved. You know, we are more, short, I don't know. The judiciary has not even helped matter.
All right.
Let's not do about it.
Thank you very much for calling in. Ada brought up so many points there that, look, INEC has done very well according to most, assessments. But at the end of the day, INEC doesn't have any arresting powers. INEC has provided the framework. Implementation is left to society and those people who uphold the law, or who should be upholding the law. And as I observed there, unfortunately in our climb here, we often look at the face of whoever is the perpetrator of a supposed wrong before we know what to do. How much of a challenge do you think that is? Because these pictures that we have this morning, I mean, they also will be available to other security concerns. Are we going to be able to do anything about it? Because it can be quite frustrating when we have a whole infrastructure, but the people themselves are the people who mess everything up without prejudice to the excellent infrastructure that has been erected.
Yori, the success of election is a multi-stakeholder responsibility. INEC on the driver's seat, and I can declare to you that INEC is not a problem today. INEC has developed processes, procedures that are applicable to deal with challenge of election service delivery, as I've said before. Security, judiciary is a key stakeholder.
Indeed.
And I've already been expressing my concern of the level of performance of my constituency.
Yeah, but the problem
security
is, people
is very key.
It is.
But you know that security
blanket security. Yeah. They don't, people are apprehensive of what could be seen as, oh, it's a militarized operation now. And I know nobody wants that. Nobody wants to, because if the security were to come into it, so if the people will not behave themselves, if people will not be deterred, then if security were to stand gidigba, as it were, then they're open to the charge of the election has been militarized. But I know you want to say something about that.
Yes.
Let me take Michael, who was called in from Ekiti and is holding on, and then we'll come back to that whole point. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, host, and good morning, Mr. Michael Igini.
Yes.
Yeah, please, Oga Michael Igini, I really want you to buttress more on, at this stage of our life, when we have over how many million people who are mobile users. What is stopping us at this stage of our life from sitting at the confine of our house and we conduct our voting online? Oga Michael Igini, please, I want you to talk. I want to have more knowledge on this. Thank you.
Okay, very quickly on that. What the commission is doing before I left, and I know more thinking is still going on there, is that we are moving on an incremental stage-by-stage basis. A time will come where that will happen. Even in mature jurisdictions, America and other places, there's email voting and all that. We will come to that. We will look at the level of our infrastructure. But where we are today, you could see for the first time, Nigeria became the first country in Africa to be doing what we call online registration. Today, you now see your register in the website, all right? So you could see that we are making progress. The beauty of even where we are now, let us perfect the stage we are now. Power has been returned back to Nigerian people. I will have shown you the pyramid of election day conduct to show to you that INEC is just in 3 stages. Every other thing down has to do with Nigerian people who are in charge of the polling unit, the work relation center, and all of that. Showing clearly that a success of election is a reflection of our collective values. For instance, as a commissioner in Akwa Ibom, we are just about less than 500 people. But to conduct both the first and second election, we recruited 20,048. And I don't even sign anything on election day.
This is a team. This is a
yes. Now let's go to the tracking.
This is
to show you the tracking, to show to Nigerians that no matter what you hear, Yori, no matter the attacks around, 2023 election will be conducted. The Nigerian people must hold their PVC. There is one showing the computers.
Okay,
INEC have developed.
Support,
yes, INEC had developed some tools, what I would call the Election Management Support Center, that is based in Abuja. Now, it has 3 components. We have the EMS. Then you have what you call the ERM, that's Election Risk Management, that tracks and monitor every threat on the way. Then, of course, you have the EOSC. These are what you call the EOSC, Electoral Operations Support Center. You see, the lady there is the head of the team who came from Abuja. This is what the group photograph after the election that we took. Now, what do they do? To tell politicians that you cannot do anything again. The game is up. That I can tell you. Once all these are implemented fully, fairly, and impartially, it will develop.
Because that team that has just left the screen, they were monitoring.
No, they do tracking. From INEC office,
yes,
they will track both the men and materials to the rack centers. From the rack center, they will go to the polling unit. The process of accreditation, voting are all tracked. They will be reporting back. They are in that office as big as this my conference. Everything is being tracked. So down at the end of the voting, where count is going on is also being tracked.
And so this is being observed in Abuja at headquarters.
Oh, you see, the EMSC is the headquarters is in Abuja, but each state of the federation you have this office at the state. Now, the EMSC from Abuja, they have what you call a 360-degree visibility view of the entire implementation of the election project plan across Nigeria.
So if anything is amiss, they know it real time.
Look, if you
immediately.
Go back, absolutely, because there's a tracking process. That was why a politician in Akwa Ibom State, he went to hijack, kidnap pool official at about midnight. It was my telephone sitting in my office, and I placed a call to him. What are you doing? He was telling people that I was using magic. We were using magic. That is to tell you how INEC has gone. Now, come to the bimodal process that we're talking about. Look, please go and prepare for election. All the effort that Viva should not be used, IREF, you are wasting your time.
Yes,
because that's the only thing that INEC is going to use.
You're talking now about the bimodal
voter accreditation system, the Vivas.
Back in, I think one paper wrote on it
February.
In February.
Correct.
That INEC still needs to do more work on that. You say that was February. We've come a long way.
Oh, absolutely.
Since then.
You've seen so many elections conducted, and you've seen the outcome of those elections. There is nothing anybody can do again. That is why they are going to use strategy of misinformation, disinformation, violence to intimidate people not to come out. But I must say this here: Nigerians must sing a new song, because every election is an opportunity to renew the journey of a country. Every election, new election, is like a Christmas period. It's like Easter.
So
it's like Salah Day. Everybody will come. So nobody is expected on Christmas Day to stop Iori from celebrating Christmas. Election is like a Christmas day.